Good morning, everyone. Today we are beginning Unit 4, Module 4, and this module is about linear and nonlinear functions. So let's start with Module 4.1, and this one is graphing linear functions. Let's look at our learning target. I can graph linear functions by making tables of values, and I can graph linear functions by using the x and y intercepts. So, I have written a problem on the board, and we are going to start graphing. But by graphing linear functions, we are basically going to use a table, and we are going to give some values to x, or the input, and then based on the rule that is provided, like in this case it is negative 2x minus 3, I'm going to find the output, and then that x and y will form an ordered pair, and then I am going to graph it. So again, a table of values can be used to graph a linear function, and every ordered pair that makes the equation true represents a point on its graph. So a graph represents all the solutions of an equation, and linear functions can be represented by equations in two variables. So let's start with the one which I have put on the board, and I can see that it's saying graph negative 2x minus 3 is equal to y by making a table. So we always start with a table, and I'm going to give some values to x over here, and have at least 5 values so that you can see the graph plotted properly. So let's say I say negative 4, negative 2, I can give 0, I can go on into 2 or 1, it doesn't matter. Let's say I say 1, 3. So you're just giving some values to x. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to use this expression to solve for y. And I'm just going to substitute the values of x into here, because these are the values for x that I've given. You can choose what you want, but this is what I have chosen. So the first one, I'm saying negative 2 times, what have I said x is? It is negative 4. So negative 4 minus 3. What is this going to give me? Okay, so we have negative 2 times, we have negative 4, that gives me 8. Right? Because negative times negative is going to give me positive. So this gives me 8 minus 3, and I get 5. Okay, so 8 minus 3, and that gives me 5 as my answer. So if I look at my ordered pair, it is going to be negative 4 and 5. Let's look at the next one. If I give you negative 2, what am I doing? I'm doing negative 2 times negative 2 minus 3. What is negative times negative? It's positive. So negative 2 times negative 2 gives me positive 4 minus 3, and I get my answer as 1. Y is 1. So if x is negative 2, y is positive 1. Then let's try 0. Negative 2 times 0 minus 3. Anything times 0 is 0. And then I have minus 3. So I get 0 minus 3, which gives me negative 3. So when my x coordinate is 0, the y is negative 3. Okay, let's look at the next one. And if I say negative 2 times x is 1 now, minus 3, and negative times positive is going to give me negative, so that is negative 2 minus 3. So same signs, we add, and I get negative 5. So when x is 1, y is negative 5. And then the last one, I have negative 2 times 3 minus 3. Once again, negative times positive is going to give me negative. So that is negative 6 minus 3. Same signs, you are going to add them and I get negative 9. So when x is 3, y is negative 9. So now I've created my table and I have, organized my ordered pairs, x and y. And so once I have done that, now I'm going to take these ordered pairs and I am going to graph it on my coordinate plane. And of course, we know that this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Here's my origin, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. And now all I'm going to do is take those values and I am going to graph it. So let's look at the first one. It's saying negative 4. So when x is negative 4, y is 5. So here is my point. Okay? Then it's saying when x is negative 2, y is 1. So when I have negative 2 here, y is 1. So here is my other point. Then it's saying when we have x is 0, y is negative 3. So this is also the y-intercept. Okay? So once again, this is negative 4, 5. This is negative 2, 1. This is 0, negative 3. Then it's saying when x is 1, y is negative 5. Okay, y is negative 5. So we have 1 and negative 5. And then the last ordered pair that we have over here is 3, negative 9. So this is 3 and negative 9 is over here. So we have 3, negative 9. Okay, so we graph the ordered pairs in the table and now we are going to connect them with a line. So this way and then here we go. All right. Sorry if it's not too straight. It's supposed to be a straight line. There we go. All right. So this is how we make a table based on the expression that is given, and then we graph the ordered pairs that we have got with the x and y, and we connect the dots with a line. Okay. So this is graphing your linear functions. Let's try another problem. So in the next problem, I am giving you the equation y is equal to 1/4 x plus 3. So once again, we are going to create a table and then we are going to graph it. So let me give some values. I'm going to take 5 values. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to take 5 values for x. And let's say I take negative 8, negative 4, 0, 4, 8. Now, why am I choosing values like this instead of like negative 1, negative 2, etc.? Is because I'm looking at 1/4 x. So that means I'm thinking of a numerator that I can simplify with 4. So what is 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's why I'm looking at those kind of numbers which I can simplify by dividing the numerator by the denominator. And that's why I've taken negative 8, negative 4, 0, 4, and 8. Okay, it makes my simplifying a lot better. Okay, so now let's look at this. We are going to replace the first one. We are going to say 1/4 times, what is the first one? It is negative 8. So times negative 8 plus 3. And so this is what I was saying. Now, if I have this like this over 1, I can simplify, right? And so what is a negative divided by positive? I'm going to get a negative answer. But negative 8 divided by 4 gives me negative 2. So this is 1, this is negative 2. So I have negative 2 plus 3. And that gives me the opposite sign. So I'm going to subtract. And the higher absolute value is positive. So I get negative when negative x is negative 8, y is 1. Let's look at the next one. I have 1/4 times what? Negative 4. X is negative 4 plus 3. Negative 4 divided by 4 gives me negative 1. And then I have plus 3 and that gives me 2 as my answer. So when x is negative 4, y is 2. Let's look at the third one. Now we have 1/4 times 0 plus 3. Anything times 0 is 0. And what is 0 plus 3? Gives me 3. So when x is 0, y is 3. Let's look at the next one. And I have 4. Okay, so 1/4 times 4 plus 3. Now it's positive by positive. So when I'm saying 4 divided by 4, I get 1. And what is 1 plus 3 gives me 4. So when x is 4, y is 4. And then I have the last one, which is 1/4 times 8 plus 3. So what is 8 divided by 4? I get 2. What is 2 plus 3? I get 5. So when x is 8, y is 5. So now I have my ordered pairs over here for me. And what I'm going to do is I am now going to graph it based on these ordered pairs. So let's look at the first one. Negative 8, 1. So remember, this is x. Okay, this is x. This is y. So when x is negative 8, y is 1. So this is negative 8, 1. When x is negative 4, y is 2. So this is negative 4, 2. When x is 0, y is 3. So this is also my y-intercept, 0, 3. And then when x is 4, y is 4. So here's my next one, 4, 4. When x is 8, y is 5. So when x is 8, y is 5. And here are my ordered pairs, and then I am going to connect them with a line. So there we go. And so then I've just graphed the ordered pairs in the table and I have connected them with a line. Okay, now let's do one where I have a question which will be like graph, we are going to graph y is equal to 5. So let's see what happens when I have a question like that. So the next graph that we are going to graph is y is equal to 5. So when I have y is equal to 5, you want to rewrite your equation as y is equal to 0x plus 5. Because we know that anything times 0 is going to be 0. So that is why if we are rewriting the equation, it makes sense why we have this graph. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we are going to give our values to x again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And let's give our values as -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And now all we're doing is look, 0 times -2 plus 5. 0 times negative 1 plus 5. 0 times 0 plus 5. 0 times 1 plus 5. 0 times 2 plus 5. So it doesn't matter. 0 times any number is going to give me 0. So 0 times negative 2, 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 times 0 plus 5. 0 plus 5. 0 plus 5. So it doesn't matter what the value of x is, y is constantly going to be 5. So if I rewrite the ordered pair, the first one is negative 2, 5. The second is negative 1, 5. Third is 0, 5. Then we have 1, 5. And then we have 2, 5. So as you can see, any value of x, my y is still going to be 5. So I know if I'm plotting this, we have negative 2 and we have 5. We have negative 1 and we have 5. We have 0 and 5. We have 1 and 5. 2 and 5. It doesn't matter what I have. I will end up y is equal to 5 as a horizontal line. It doesn't matter what value of x I have, y will always be equal to 5. And so once again, x and 5, the ordered pair, all values of x in the domain, you're still going to get 5 as y. So this becomes a horizontal line. Okay? Now, so in the previous equation, you learned that where I said y is equal to 5 or y is equal to a is going to be a horizontal line, right? So when I have x is equal to negative 2, or if I have, this format given where x is equal to a, then instead of a horizontal line, what do you think I'm going to get? I'm going to get a completely vertical line. So it doesn't matter what the value of y is, x is always going to be negative 2. So when I actually plot that, let's say, this is negative 2 and 2. Negative 2 and 1. Negative 2, negative 1. So x will always be negative 2. It doesn't matter what the value of y is, okay? So in this case, we are going to get a vertical line, okay? So this is negative 2, 0. So as you can see, this is what I will get in this situation. So once again, y is equal to a. When we solved that one, we had a horizontal line. But when we have equations in the form x is equal to a or x is equal to whatever value is given, this is going to give me a vertical line. And when I have y is equal to a, then I'm going to get a horizontal line. Okay, then I'm going to get a horizontal line. So again, graph of x is equal to negative 2 is a vertical line, as you can see. Through negative 2y for all real values of y. And when we graph the ordered pairs that have x coordinates of negative 2 and connect them, we get this vertical line. Okay? So the next thing we are going to do is graphing by using the intercepts. Okay? And so you can graph a linear function given only 2 points on the line. So using the x and y intercepts, we can plot those points because they are easy to find, and then we just connect with a line. And so the two intercepts provide the ordered pairs of 2 points through which the graph of the linear function passes. So let's look at the first question that I have put on the board, and it is negative x plus 2y is equal to 8. So in order for me to find the intercepts, when I'm trying to find the x-intercept, we are going to let y be equal to 0. So for x-intercept, y is equal to 0. And then if I'm finding the y-intercept, if I'm trying to find the y-intercept, then x will equal 0. So that's what we are going to use in order to solve this. So let's do the first one. We are finding the x-intercept, so y is equal to 0. We are going to write out the original equation is equal to 8. Okay, and then we are going to replace y with 0. So negative x plus 2 times 0 is equal to 8. Right? So then I have 2 times 0 gives me 0. And so I'm left with negative x is equal to 8. And so we are going to now simplify. We're going to divide both sides by negative 1, because what is the coefficient here? Is negative 1. We've got to make the variable positive. Okay? So when I'm dividing both sides by negative 1, because that's what the coefficient is, negative 1 divided by negative 1 is going to give me positive, right? So I'm left with just x. And 8 divided by negative 1 is going to give me negative 8. So this is my answer, and the graph intersects the x-axis. So x-intercept is going to be negative 8, 0. All right. Now, when I'm trying to find, so here is the x-intercept, and now I am going to find the y-intercept. So when I'm finding the y-intercept, I am going to let x be equal to 0. Again, I'm going to write out the original equation. Negative x plus 2y is equal to 8. And now we are going to replace x with 0. So this is negative 0 plus 2y is equal to 8. So now when we simplify, we are going to get 2y is equal to 8. We are going to use the division property of equality, divide both sides by 2, and y is equal to 4. So this means that the graph intersects the y-axis at 0, 4. Now I have the 2 points that I want to place into the graph. So I have the x-intercept and I have the y-intercept. So let me graph the x-intercept first. The x-intercept is negative 8, 0. So I'm going to go to my graph, and here is negative 8, 0. And I am going to graph this. Negative 8, 0. I am going to graph that ordered pair. And then I'm going to graph the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 0, 4. So this is 0 and this is 4. Okay, so once again, this is my x-intercept and this is my y-intercept. This is my y-intercept. And then I'm going to draw a line through the points. Like this. And there is my graph. There is my graph. Okay, so we just solve for x, we solve for y, using solving for x-intercept, y is 0. Solving for y-intercept, we make x 0. Take the original equation, substitute those values, and then that's how we are finding x and y-intercept. We plot those, connect, with a line, and that's it. So that is graphing using the x and the y-intercepts. So let's do one last question, and this is using intercepts. Pets. Angelina bought a 15-pound bag of food for her dog. The bag contains about 60 cups of food, and she feeds her dog 2.5 or 5/2 cups of food per day. The function y plus 5/2x is equal to 60 represents the amount of food left in the bag y after x days. Graph the amount of dog food left in the bag as a function of time. So what we're going to do in this case, we are first going to find the x and y intercepts and interpret their meaning in the context of the situation. And then we are going to graph the equation by using the intercepts. So to find the x-intercept, let y be equal to 0. So I'm going to start writing it over here. So for x-intercept, y is equal to 0, right? So I'm going to write out the original equation, and y plus 5/2x is equal to 60. So now we are saying y is equal to 0. So we are substituting this value for y. This is 0 plus 5/2x is equal to 60. And then we are going to simplify, right? And we're going to get 5/2x is equal to 60. And so we are going to do the reciprocal times 2/5. Whatever I do on one side, do the same thing on the other side. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I'm left with x, right? And I have 60 times 2, which is 120. I can also say 5 times 12 gives me 60. And then 12 times 2 is 24. Okay, so this is what I have found the x-intercept. So if I'm saying x-intercept, that means this ordered pair is 24, 0. Okay, so the x-intercept is 24, and what does this mean? This means that the graph intersects the x-axis at 24, 0. So after 24 days, there is no dog food left in the bag. And that's basically what this means. Now, let's find the y-intercept. So if you're finding the y-intercept, then we have x is equal to 0. And we have x is equal to 0. So again, we're going to write out the original equation, and we have y plus 5/2x is equal to 60. And so this is y plus, we are going to substitute the value of x, just times 0 is equal to 60, and anything times 0 is 0, so I'm left with y plus 0 is equal to 60, and so I get y is equal to 60. So what is my ordered pair over here? It's going to be 0 and 60. Okay, so the y-intercept is 60. This means that the graph intersects the y-axis at 0, 60. So after 0 days, there are 60 cups of food in the bag. So I've just shown you that this was the x-intercept, that's the y-intercept. We are going to plot that on the graph and then draw a straight line. So let me just show you the graph now. And I have already created it. So here you go. Here's the graph. So look, 0, 60. And then I had my x-intercept which was 24, 0, and then I just connected it with a line. Okay? So that concludes module 4.1, graphing linear functions. All right, so yes, we can either make a table, we can have the values of x that I can input into the equation that is provided to find the value of y. And when I have the x and y, that gives me the ordered pairs. And each of those ordered pair is a solution to that equation. And then I plot it on the graph and connect with a line. And then I can also use the x and y intercepts in order to plot a linear function. When I solve for x and y intercepts, those are the 2 points that I am going to place on the graph, and then I connect with a line. And that concludes our module 4.1, graphing linear functions. Have a great day.